Uh, we have come to the end of the hour, and we didn't get to Apple iCloud Drive. Just let me say, in general, it's cloud storage from Apple that provides many of the same kinds of services that we just saw Michael show us with OneDrive. There are some differences. And didn't even go into the sharing aspect of it,
Yeah.
but both of them you can share files with other people and so forth. But when you were talking about how when you got conglomerated and everything, one of the things that iCloud does, if you're turning it on for multiple Macs, it actually does make separate document folders by default,
Which is what I would expect.
with the computer name next to it, so that you know which documents folder is in iCloud and which one is associated with which computer.
Yes.
So that was one nice little thing that I thought Apple did right there. So,
And that's fully what I expected to see, and I did not.
so we will record a little bit at home so I can give it to John for the online version. Well, here I am again. I'm back in the recording saddle. Barry Midgordon, MVCUG Vice President, and this is the missing iCloud Drive part of the presentation from December 14, 2024, Mountain View Computer Users Group meeting, the Mike and Barry show. We covered OneDrive and didn't quite have time to get to the... We covered OneDrive and didn't quite have time to get to Apple's iCloud Drive. So finally getting around to recording this addendum that John can stick on the end of the live show, and you'll have the information that we intended to present in the first place. So here we go. Apple iCloud Drive. This is cloud storage provided by Apple for your Apple devices. But first, let's address some possible confusion between terms iCloud and iCloud Drive. I've heard people ask, what is the iCloud? And, well, the iCloud, the term iCloud is strictly a marketing term. It's an umbrella that covers many, many Apple features. There's iCloud Mail, iCloud Photos, iCloud Sync, Passwords and Keychain, and lots of others. iCloud Drive, on the other hand, is Apple's online cloud storage feature. And they're quick to say that this is strictly not a backup, although sometimes people can sort of think of it that way. But I wouldn't count on it as being your only backup for your data. So iCloud Drive is just one of the features under the iCloud umbrella that covers lots of things Apple offers. Your iCloud Drive, when you have an Apple account, you get free 5 gigabytes of cloud storage. You can add more capacity with iCloud Plus subscriptions. And if you just need extra storage, you can get 50 gigabytes for $1 a month, 200 gigabytes for $3 a month, or 2 terabytes for $10 a month. And those storage, that iCloud Drive storage can also be shared, as we'll see here in a minute. Other iCloud Plus features include Private Relay, which keeps your Safari browsing private, Hide My Email, which allows you to keep your personal email address private, and you can set up a custom email domain if you'd like to personalize your iCloud email address. So instead of, for instance, barry.midgordon@icloud.com, I could have an email address that's barry@midgordon.com, and it would still go through my Apple iCloud account. You also, if you have a secure cameras, not security, if you have security cameras in your HomeKit smart automation, home automation system, iCloud Plus provides encrypted video from those security cameras, as well as I mentioned a minute ago, family sharing. iCloud Plus plans can be shared with up to 5 family members. So, for instance, I do pay for extra storage, and I can share that iCloud storage with my wife if we had kids or other family members and living in the same household. They could all share that storage space for backups and whatever is needed. Now, iCloud Plus is also part of any of the Apple One bundles that you might choose to subscribe to. So if you subscribe to Apple Music or Apple TV Plus, Apple Arcade, Apple News Plus, or Apple Fitness Plus, you get iCloud Plus features as part of that subscription. And there are a number of tiers of Apple One bundles. You can buy one or two, or you get 1 or 3 or all 5 different tiers, different price points, and any one of them adds extra storage to your iCloud Plus subscription. However, we're not really here to talk about iCloud Plus or iCloud in general. I just wanted to share a little bit about it so you know that there's a difference between that and the one feature we're here to talk about, iCloud Drive, which is strictly Apple's online storage feature. So when you have an iCloud Drive, whether it's the free level or an iCloud Plus subscription that gives you extra storage, the drive itself is there to store, synchronize, and edit files across your Apple devices. So you can access your iCloud Drive on any computer via a web browser. So whether you have a Mac and an iPad and an iPhone, you can get all of your documents synchronized, stored in iCloud Drive, and you can edit them on any one of those devices. And if you happen to be on somebody else's computer, you can access all those same files through a web browser at iCloud.com. You can also share folders and files with anyone. This is a feature of Microsoft OneDrive as well. We didn't get too deep into that when Mike was talking about it at the meeting, but it's one of those features for cloud storage that you can share files and folders with anyone. You can also collaborate on files as long as other people have a compatible app that reads the file format. For instance, you can have a Pages file in your iCloud Drive and you can share that with anybody. You can send a link to share that file, but if the person on the other end doesn't have Apple Pages on any of their devices, if they don't even have a Mac or an iPhone, they can't collaborate. But if they have an iCloud or an Apple account, they can go to iCloud.com and use Pages in the cloud to collaborate. So there are ways. You can also optimize the local storage of any Apple device. As recommended, especially for mobile devices like iPads and iPhones, they have limited storage available. So you don't want, hundreds of gigabytes or several terabytes of data possibly that you have in iCloud Drive. You don't want to have it all downloaded locally to your 64 gigabyte iPhone won't fit. So you can see the files, you can access the files, and you can download them as needed. Also on laptops, it's recommended. For instance, I'm recording this on a MacBook Air, and I have optimized local storage because it only has, I can't remember now. It's either 500 gigabytes or 1 terabyte of storage. And we got 2 users on this machine. My wife uses it, I use it, and it's kind of a secondary machine for myself. So all my files are on my desktop Mac Mini, but this one is optimized. So I can access files, but I don't have to have all my files local on this computer, which saves storage and, gives you access to the files, but you don't have to fill up the entire internal drive. So what else we got here? All right, so iCloud Drive, it just appears on the Mac as another storage option in the Finder. You open a Finder window and you'll see a category for iCloud Drive. And you interact with it just like any other local folder or storage volume that you have on your computer or on your Mac. I'm talking about the Mac specifically here. On iPads and iPhones, you access your iCloud Drive via the Files app. So you have a dedicated app to access your iCloud Drive. And then if you're on some other computer anywhere, don't have your own device, you can go to iCloud.com, log into your Apple account, and you can get all your iCloud Drive files there as well. So, as Mike showed in the OneDrive section, there's a number of different icons associated with files and folders that you might see on a Mac, specifically on a Mac. This is from the Mac user guide, this screenshot here. You may have to pause or zoom in to read this to see the little icons. We'll show them here briefly in a second. But there are different statuses. There's an icon that shows you that the file you're looking at is in the cloud only. You have another one that says it's ineligible. In other words, you can't download it because there's not enough room, possibly. If it just has an empty cloud, that means it's local, it's been downloaded. You can also assign a keep downloaded status to any file. So it shows a circle with an arrow, and that means it won't optimize that one to the cloud. And then a dotted cloud outline indicates that it's waiting to be uploaded. So something recently that you created, and it's on the local drive, but it's waiting to be uploaded to iCloud Drive. And then you have a cloud with an exclamation point in it if you run out of space on your iCloud Drive. And there's a status for the uploading and downloading file transfers of iCloud. There's a pie chart that gets slowly filled in as the file gets uploaded or downloaded, whatever the case may be. So that's the brief slide presentation for iCloud Drive. I hope that helps provide some clarification for anybody confused about iCloud and iCloud Drive. As I mentioned, it is very similar to a lot of the features similar to OneDrive that Mike presented. So let's take a look here at a few things that we talked about just for reinforcement. And here is the Finder. I'm going to open up a new window. And as I mentioned, you just access your iCloud Drive in the Finder. So this is a new window. This is my home on this computer. And you'll notice in the sidebar, there's a category for iCloud, and there's iCloud Drive. And there's shortcuts here. You can customize these things, what's in here, but I have documents in the cloud and my desktop in the cloud. So if I click on desktop, I have these 4 or 5 folders on my desktop. They are also resident on my Mac Mini. The same desktop files on on both computers. So anything that goes into any of these folders, I can see on both. So you'll notice that there is a cloud with an arrow pointing down, and that means the contents are in the cloud. This is a shortcut to another folder that's in my iCloud Drive, but I'll just click on iCloud Drive, and you'll see that it's just populated with a bunch of folders. Now, some apps may have their own iCloud Drive storage. You'll notice a Pages folder, a Keynote folder, some other apps, third-party apps that use iCloud Sync, which was another one of the iCloud features. It's one of the features under iCloud. Third parties can use iCloud to synchronize their data. GarageBand, Numbers, Preview, so forth. Some of these folders have to do with the fact that when you use, like for instance, Pages on the iPad or on iPhone, and you save a file, it's going to be saved in a dedicated Pages folder in iCloud. And that's where the phone or the iPad knows where to look for it. Now you can also browse your Files app and, save it anywhere you want, or pick one up from, some other place. However, by default, some apps, specifically Apple apps, but even some third-party ones, will save files specifically in their own folder in iCloud Drive. I have documents, and I have documents actually from multiple computers. This is one of the things we mentioned at the end of the meeting with Mike at the Mike and Barry show. Let me look at this as a list, and we'll just close this for now. When you have a computer and you share or you turn on documents in the cloud, it goes to iCloud Drive, it appends the name of the computer. And we do name our computers other than Macintosh HD. So we know. So this Gabriel is an older MacBook Air that was on iCloud Drive. It has a few things in it. It's available still in iCloud Drive, even though the computer is not being used anymore. Here's the documents folder for this MacBook Air. I don't have much there in my user. And then this is the documents folder for my Mac Mini. And this is where most of all my files are always stored on my Mac Mini documents folder. It doesn't include pictures or movies and such, but anything I put in my documents folder is in this folder. And on this machine, you'll notice I do have optimized storage turned on, and so most of these folders are just in the cloud. And if I want to use something, well, this one, see this letter here, this one is actually local because it doesn't have an icon. You can turn on an iCloud status column if you're looking at columns, and now it'll show every single thing. So this has an outlined cloud, which means this Christmas invite Pages document is actually on this computer. Interestingly enough, that it would stay here since 2010 and not be optimized, but that's the case. So that means it's local. Yeah. If I wanted to always have it available, let me show you an example of that. We'll go to the MVCUG folder. Now this folder is a shortcut it's under my favorites, but this does reside in iCloud Drive. You'll see it is from Vincent, which is my Mac Mini. It's in the documents folder, which I have in iCloud Drive. So let's look at presentations. This is the December 14 presentation, and here's the Keynote file, and you'll notice that it does have, oops, I didn't want to change that. It does have the little arrow in a circle, which means this file is being kept local no matter what. Even though it's pretty large file. Well, that's not too bad, 78 megabytes. But when I was working on it and when I used it to present at the live meeting, the Mike and Perry show, I wanted it there so I didn't have to download it when I needed it. So, but all these other resources that I may have used to create the slideshow, they're all in the cloud. If I wanted to open one, let's say I want to open this arcade, Apple Arcade icon, I can just double click it as if it were there, and it quickly downloads it and then opens it in the default app, which in this case is Preview. And now you'll see that the icon has gone away. If there's no icon on the end of the name of the file in the Finder, that means it's local. But if I turn on the iCloud status, you'll see it has an open cloud, which means it's now here local. And when I close this and quit preview, whoops, that's what preview is, and quit preview, eventually the operating system will say, okay, he hasn't opened that or doesn't need it anymore, hasn't looked at that folder for a while. We're going to optimize it by freeing up the space locally and only having it in iCloud Drive. So it's just another folder structure on your computer. It doesn't appear as a storage drive like an external drive or your internal drive, or like over here on the computer screen on the desktop, but it is a storage space under iCloud in the Finder. So if you have any questions, feel free to call. You can call John or myself. Let's see if I can go back here and I think I have one more slide here. Yeah, I can talk directly at you. If you have any questions, then you can call me or John, or ask us at the next Mountain View Computer User Group meeting. And for now, cheerio, happy computing, and we'll see you at the next one.